Tara Redfield, and I am a food writer in Los Angeles. And today I am with guest chef Christine Oppenheim, who is a private vegan chef and owner of Veggie Fixation in Santa Monica. And today she's going to show us how to make vegan sweet potato and oats pies, actually as little mini tartlets, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
And what's great about this recipe, Tara, is it's also no bake. So if it's
easy.
You know, something you need to throw together quickly, you can do it pretty fast and without the oven on.
Great.
So first we'll start with our crust, which is going to have enough for 6 little tartlets.
Okay.
If you want, to do 12, just double the recipe. So we have a half a cup of oats, a half a cup of walnuts, and a half a cup of dried coconut. Mm-hmm. And then we have 4 dates, which oddly enough is about half a cup. So this is pretty easy. Half cup, half cup, half cup. Sprinkled a little bit of salt. Mm-hmm. And then we also take about a tablespoon of coconut oil. Mm-hmm. And this is virgin unrefined coconut oil, and that's the best kind of coconut oil you want to use.
Okay. And is this going to help everything stick together?
Absolutely. Okay. So we'll basically just work this until it gets clumping together is the best way to put it.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're testing it just to see?
Exactly. And you should be able to form it in your hands. And
okay.
If you're able to form it in your hands, then you're good to go. Okay. So now I'm going to start to press it into my tart pan. And I just kind of take a little ball and just throw it in there. And then I just press until the thing is solid. And, if you need a little more, you grab a little more. Mm-hmm. Just kind of judge based on how high the walls are. And you can make the crust as thin or as thick as you like. If you like a thicker crust, then just put more in. If you like it thinner, then just do a little thinner. Now we're going to stick it in either the freezer for about 10 minutes or the fridge for at least a half an hour just to solidify it so we can just easily pop it out of this pan.
Wonderful.
And while this is in the fridge, what we're going to do is prepare the filling. So for the sweet potato filling, I like to steam my sweet potatoes. Mm-hmm. And these are actually yams, not sweet potatoes, I should point out, which is a common substitution. People are used to seeing the orange color, so a lot of sweet potatoes are white. So I like to stick with the yams because they're familiar. Mm-hmm. I like to steam it in just a simple basket like this.
Absolutely.
And it just steams in about 10 minutes, so really quick. And you can do that while you're making the crust usually. So
these are steamed.
So these are steamed. You want about 2 cups of diced sweet potato for the 6 tarts. Okay. Again, double it if you want to do a dozen or a full pie. So we throw this into our trusty Cuisinart. And if you don't have a Cuisinart handy and you were doing a different type of pie crust, you can also just mash these by hand, which is great. So yeah, different options available. And then I put a little bit of coconut oil, and I'll do a tablespoon per cup. Sorry about that.
Tablespoon per cup.
Okay. Tablespoon per cup. And when you have the coconut oil on your hands, don't worry about it. It's
just great. It's a moisturizer.
Great moisturizer. So I have a couple of tablespoons of maple syrup. And our spices, of course. And for the spices, we have some cinnamon, which is the most. So we have a teaspoon of cinnamon, about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of cardamom, and then about 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg.
Wonderful.
And you can play with the spices as well. These just happen to be my favorite spices. But if there's anything in there that you don't like, you don't need to use it.
Perfect.
And then really simply just close it up. And then I just use a wooden spoon or a spatula to scrape everything down, make sure we're not missing anything. And then at this point, you can also taste it for seasoning. See if you need it to be any sweeter or if you need a little more coconut oil. The coconut oil is basically in place of butter. You would use butter in a traditional sweet potato pie, but the coconut oil stands in for that. So this is nice and blended.
Okay.
we have a nice smooth consistency. You're going to get a lot smoother when you do the food processor, but again, if you just hand mash it, it's absolutely fine too.
Okay. And then this will be what we use to fill our little crusts.
Absolutely. So now we've taken our little tart crusts out of the fridge, and we're ready to just spoon a little bit onto there. And you can put as much or as little as you like. And then finally, what I did is I also toasted a little bit of coconut and a little bit of oats with some sugar and cinnamon, and just put it in a pan and toasted it for about 30 seconds until it starts to get fragrant and toasty. And mix it with coconut oil when it's done. And then you have a nice little topping as well, so it's a little bit of a crumble.
Oh my gosh. Sweet potato and oats pies. Fantastic. Christine, these look delicious.
Thank you.
And they're such a great little size.
Yeah, it's a great little bite-sized size for parties or any kind of get-together.
So there you have it, sweet potato and oats pies.